오늘 당아서 가스 파파 대체 지금 너무 가도 되래 돼요. 대용 시동이 너무 생에대 가르치 되고 너무 생에대 가지고 라잔도 원하지로 고글멘도 좀 어떤 이성 됐어.
So at the moment, so we are studying on this topic called the precepts, which is in Tibetan is Dhamma, and so generally speaking, so these precepts can be understood as some kind of like instructions, or spiritual instructions.
대용 당아서 용도를 라자스니데 가르치고 있으나 뭐 뇨뇨 제지거니 뇨주 대조 명예지라니 다 아니 대화도 다 대화드비가 타다 아니 다 가르마시와이나 대시비가 타라 데 마라테네 디치와이자 안토라 라자세고요 와스.
So the instructions, so precept means like instructions or an advice. So we normally understand this, the advice or the instruction is usually come from someone. We receive from someone who knows about, who came from that and who gave this to us because as a the way to share the his or her knowledge. So something that we perhaps the knowledge that which we do not possess, something that we do not know, so that person will share, or such as if it can means to some advice on how to best way to find happiness or to solve the problems, and so this we have to understand when we when we talk about precepts. So this it has a similar like meanings.
다간데 맞소용다 문요뇨제다 소시가 다 텔라테네니 다티고 공부터 성예가 아니 템바카리치디가 아니 라자 아니 도만 노요를 된 같이 도만 노아도 제요 말했어 아니 이 그런 거 송샹주 때니 빼샤를 예어를 때 이나요 대조지가 저 레라위 거네 다 터요 말했어 대인자 다 되네니 아니 다 가리치지 쇼게다 드네마 주네니 자업변주 아니 드네니 뇨뇨제 아마 종가 발라소비 맞을 거야 그치다 름바지 세르동 드니게 때나 때네다 가리테노라 때네다 나가 저거 대니오테 시에 주슈에 와다 전화주 니에 되어야 와 아니 고성까지 때네 인딜라자테 shum바레스 동화테 서로다
So this such like instructions or the precepts. So usually comes from someone who have who's an experienced ones. And so therefore in here these instructions that we or the precept that we we are studying is something which come from or from the Lord Buddha, who was something which was given by the Lord Buddhas. So of course we didn't have that the privilege to directly receive this the precepts or these instructions, spiritual instruction from the Lord Buddhas. So this instruction from the Lord Buddha is really true. Is full guide for us and instruction for us to how to reach to complete enlightenment. So therefore the how we get access to this the Buddha's precepts, Buddha's instruction is the teachings, the legacy of the Buddha's teachings which Buddha has left, which we have. And then even, however, when we study, trying to understand the Buddha's instruction, by reading those Buddha's own, teachings, then, as it might be a bit difficult for understand. So therefore, we rely on these the commentaries or the explanations of the Buddha's instructions, such as the one the commentary written by like the Maitreya's Buddhas, and furthermore, and how these Maitreya writings of the Maitreya has been, how it has been further explained and elaborated so that it will make it more accessible to us. And so there are so many writings of the later Indian masters or the Pandits, and then moreover, then we also rely on the Tsongkhapa's, Lama Tsongkhapa's writings, which even the further clarified all the writings of the ancient great Indian scholars, Indian Pandits, and this is what at the moment. So we have this access to this great, to understanding these Buddha's precepts, Buddha's instructions, by depending on or relying on the writings of the like such as the Lama Tsongkhapa's texts.
다 된지 글라자 세나니 대제제 동화텔라 아니 대칭이 도지에 가서 지순쇼이레스 지순의 눈에 다 가서 제대 로사오레스 봐 소마니 대제 통랑도 마다 네 고난도 동화 세네다 드리더니 만도야 되샤스
So as to this explanation or the presentation of this topic on the minor precepts. So as we know, there are the 10 topics which we find under this precepts, subject matter of precepts. So of these 10, so we finished the first 8, and now the last 2, which are the instructions or the precepts which instructs on the path of seeing, and the precept which instructs on the path of meditations.
단단히 가르친 거였으나 나저 주비 수제지 공부 된다 얘기는 님바더니 대제지 돈이 두비 대제지 돈론도 고난라 수발라 아니 배제지네 아니 루절라 시와 시가 그거래스네 어때 송거래스
So from this from this the fact that how this there's a precepts on which instructs on the path of seeing and on the path of and the path of meditations. So this give us the indications that or to indication to anyone's who who wish to achieve complete enlightenment. So that they must study about these two, these precepts on these two paths, the path of seeing and the path of meditations, and also they must be meditate on these two precepts.
네, 다 된지 그제 가르스나 공개야 가르스나니 맞죠? 수제 또 발랑가 제치 쪼데 아니 댄자다 dance of Pocho, the Same, or Tindi Yadere, dance of Telayo, and Yewa Giosana, Nishita, or Katok Chachita, and Leshik Chachi, Seneni, Niores. Jetsangani, Katok Chate, Tijetongo, Ni, Dangi Chinekone Punkuyore, Ni Leshik Chate, and Tijegonga, and Nishi Palatine Punkuyores. Jetsanga, and Tini, Gazette and Rista, Sujeta Palatin, Jelashikaze.
So why do we need to find out about these precepts on the part precept which instructs on the part of seeing and the part of meditations? So this is because the main obstacles, the main obstacle or the obstructions for us to achieve the complete enlightenment. Complete enlightenment is the grasping, grasping at the self, or the self grasping, and together with it's the what I call the imprint, or the was it? I just lost the word. The tendencies, of that, the self graspings, and then so we must in order to achieve complete enlightenment, so we have to completely overcome this self grasping together with its the tendency or the propensities, and then if we look into this, the self graspings, or self graspings, then there is we will generally we'll find two layers there. So one layer which is very deep, which is innate, innate, the like an inborn, this self-grasping, the view of or the view of self-graspings that we have, and then the other layer, the other type is called more like artificials or imputed self-graspings, and so now of these two parts, the part of the part of seeing and the part of meditations, and of these two, so the part of seeing is mainly to overcome, or is mainly to counteract that artificials or the more the imputed the types of these self-graspings, and whereas the part of the meditations, the part of meditation is a remedy to the innate the types of self-graspings.
One of the shitani tono to gono singitana. Di nune joni chewada ta tewa chimbigani tono to gono sewade. Mo kandere. Jiche kandere tene shekure. O tendi samaina. Ani ta tendi kola ta ndo dujin nema. Ani rate na sonsons.
So first we will just look into the general, just the overview of this. What is the in general? What's the part of seeing and means, and part of meditation means, and then we will look more specifically on the part of seeing and part of meditation of the Mahayana. Or of the great vehicles.
Shitani long tela long Sulong, Yolong, Tolong, Golong, Molong, Sine, Long Irisra. And it's sort of really much Asian songs. And it didn't know Mumbuji gone Tetsun and Changa Ejina, and it done Renga Marisra. Things that the Raji Apuji Matena, and indeed Unemala, ni long at the Union, the Undirisra. And it is a Tanan Gomatsanani, Jeltis coach over this. Things that the long at the Rorajing Amaret.
I think so. We should also, to before we go into this, the most specific about this part of seeing and part of meditations. I think we should also, many of you probably already, familiar with this, already have studied this in the past, which is just the just general framework of these 5 parts. 5 parts, the part of accumulation, part of preparations, part of seeing, then part of meditation, and then part of normal learnings. So this, so it's very important that we all have some, we know what are those 5 parts, and have some the understanding of those the each of the part, and because as we go move forward in this teaching, so we will come over these the 5 parts, and so therefore it's important to have this understanding. Otherwise you will you'll get confused. You'll get confused later on.
Then that Shitane ni senje de la ni long shupada, long majupa sine, ni senje nuzela ni, ani chewa nishi res.
So we talk about 5 parts. So the and the part. So when you're talking about the spiritual part. So and then in terms of the being or those people, so we could have those who have entered into the path, and there are others who have not entered in the path.
They to seje tsuma ani dunga du trawan de yores. Dunga du trawan de to three tindi taji dunga tela so ninzlu mandawa santi yores.
Kansalo.
Senje tonje dunga du trawan de gres. Dunga du trawan de na yo tindi taji dunga yorwa. Taji dunga tela ninz mandawa santi yores. 같이 dunga trawa de kiti ninza tsatag marwa.
So just to explain to you the meaning of the what the meaning of entering into the path. So first we if we think of all the sentient beings, then we all are same. We all are same in wanting to be free from the suffering. To be free from the sufferings, and then however, when we talk about this, the sufferings, what type of sufferings, what's our understanding of the sufferings, and then we will find different level of understandings of the sufferings, of the recognition of the sufferings. So in general, so you'll find there's 3 different types of the level of the recognition of the sufferings that we want to be free from also.
대웅 등하라니 등하지 등하다 아니 인제위 등하다 차원듯이 등하신 등하선 열에서 대웅 등하 동보텔라 dungaji dungatela seje tsumega te dunga imba nginza tagres seje tsumega te do trawa on de tagres.
So the three levels of three types of suffering. So that's like we have a suffering of sufferings, or the suffering of pain. So that first type, so which is something that all the sentient being, all the being can understand that as a sufferings. The first level of type of suffering, which is suffering, or the painful experience. So that's something which we all recognize that, and we all have a wish to be free of it.
Teo dunga tombote nga so lich dunga natsala supata ne so dunga la supare de resro ta dunga ni pate nga so mumbo ta shigata koega non ta dewa sochi dewa ri ta shida dewa nginz de shi ne tela ne njewi dunga asene ane tnisi go yores.
So the first type of suffering which we all sentient beings, we all understand, and so therefore we all trying to avoid it. That is the very obvious, the suffering that we experience on such as like a physical, like a sickness, or something on a level of our experience, some undesirable or some the unpleasant, feeling that we experience. So this we all recognize, and we all wanted to be, wishes to be free from it. And now the second type of sufferings, which is called as the suffering of change, and so this suffering of change, which generally refers to what we call as some form of like a pleasure, So generally, it's like a contaminated form of the happiness or the joy that we experience, So this is called as this is what this second type of suffering of change refer to.
Tindi ne ta anjiwi dunga dende tempi dewa te kanere seina pena ne mushila ne da jupenjo da ne peshola sopa mombo de denge mushila ne hoteka ne tindi penjo do jimombo shuwa ina shuwi ti se muti gjala dewa shigres ne tindi ge dewa da yo mukashi tsawa chi kasala ne 중로 예사가 공부하지는 팔레소나 아니 호텔가 레소나 아니 콜라 줄로티 제지도 콜 소와 대화지래 거랬어. 근데 그 소와 대화때 네 간다네 이제 위등하래스네. 되시고요. 그래서
So just to give an example of this the suffering of change. So it is something like how there's some people who have a strong desire for for material wealth, and then when they are able to fulfill or this material wealth, when they manage to accomplish this wealth, and then as a result they find give some sort of satisfactions in their mind, some sort of pleasure in their mind, and so that is called as a suffering of change. And also, like example of how when some people when they cannot bear the suffering of the heat, like hot weather, and then they can, when they find somewhere where they can there's a cool air, and then that as a result of that they experience some it gives some sort of comfort feelings, comfort feeling of coolness, and which kind of through and they manage to overcoming these the heat, suffering of the heat, and so that such pleasure that you experience, pleasure of coolness, so that is also called as the suffering of change.
아니 단지가 대화되니 이제 제위 동아 이제 가르스나 아니 제와미 비템비고 등하지나 아니 고초와 동벌레 봐 노지가 아니 디 대화대비 땐나신 로고 그래서 이나 어떤지 몰래와지 기진이 반에니 배나 아니 드니기 변조 ing에 고소대 아니 기진이 반에 고다 놀아서봐 배제 가를 동그에 매다 아니 야 지지 그쇼와이 두바다 아니 드니가 아니 둥아 먹고 지금 나대 거래서와 든지가 둥아 나와대 대화 디가 깨치 돈보네 마 레대고 얼마도 호텔갈 고대 아니 둥아들 레전 주시 말해 했어 제장 아니 대화 깨치 돈보 되는미 아니 좀바지다 드니가 레용고에 인자 아니 대sol은 저기 둥아세네 시고요 그래서
so now, if we're wondering, why this, like some sort of a joy or the pleasure, the people, who successfully achieve a gain of wealth that they're looking for, now that pleasure is called as suffering of change. Now, why is called change, suffering of change? Sort of suffering of change. So first of all, it is called as a type of sufferings, because if it's what they experience, if it's a true happiness, rather is true joy, true happiness, then then even in the next moment, it's same. Just as they experience that, then they should be experience that continuously. But however, we'll find that the moment afterward, then there will be person experience some sort of the unease, such as person might worrying about the safety of that goods, whether maybe somebody they might lose that the wealth, or they might be worrying about how to utilize that, what they're going to do. So it kind of started to causes some sort of stress, stress in one's mind. So therefore, even though the first moment of what the person experienced something pleasure, but from that after the moment from that onwards, then actually change to unhappiness, to a displeasures, and so therefore this is that pleasure, the initial pleasure. Therefore is called as the suffering of change. It has a suffering in nature.
Tenuji tangi pe ane pe sawe ga dunga mate tume ga non lewa teche tume chal dewa te ne injewi dunga rese te karare seni na tako tunga tini ga tulu tinula chese shega wana chi dewa teche ne ko supo tume ga dunga le rese tini tume dunga lewa te tuma ane kechi tombo 아니 다 초와 대비 종이가 다 초와 대화지래요. 대화티 깨치 동보네. 아니 종이 타마 종이 등한테 깨치 동보는 좀바지 되게 되마도 디 호텔가 깨치 타마텔라 종한테는 해야 되고 말했어. 대인자네 디 깨치 동비가 대화대. 네 이제 등하세는 되는 시고요. 그래서
So likewise how when we to get away from the heat, and then when you go into this cool place, and then even though in the initial stage you experience some pleasure, but which, as I said before, which is called as the suffering of change, or in a sense, which has a nature, suffering in nature, because then as we stay in that same place for maybe in half an hour, a bit longer, then we started to feel, too cold, and then feel, discomfort, so this, if you look into the cause of this, the discomfort of these, the now, our cold, because of our cold climate change, cold, and then when you look in the cause, then it didn't, that discomfort didn't happen, certainly it doesn't happen, eventuate all of a sudden, but rather it comes. If you look into that, you can trace it back to that initial moment of this feeling of pleasure that we experience. So which we call as the contaminated, the happiness or contaminated pleasures. So therefore, this it is called as the suffering of change also.
That ni ata sochechi dewate ni njiwi dunga imbate matsu nambada ni shiroba tamuga ni njiwi dunga imba nginza toyo res.
Kasala.
Tendi sochechi dewa yorwa kangi tsuwa dewa lesonga. Tendi dewate njiwi dunga imba. Ata dunga mo imba. Ane ta matsu shino nigega shiroba tamuga. Nomba nigega dunga imba nginza toyo res.
And as to that, the nature of that pleasure, or that the contaminated the feeling of joy or happiness that we experience. As to that, so then as it is being as the suffering of change is something which can be recognized, which can be recognized not only by Buddhists, but also even outsider. The believer can also can recognize that as in another word that that pleasure or that suffering of change as some kind of sufferings, some form of suffering. So which is the recognized as a suffering both by Buddhists and also the non-Buddhists or any like outsiders as well.
That dunga samba ni chawan de dunga chawan de dunga sindi karisena lenye ung shumi sochi nyawan lembi pimbotela ane chawan de dunga sikiyores de dunga wa imbate ta ngazo nginzab topate ngazo numba tomo ma imbate resro de dunga wa imbate ne nginzabate ne ngazo numba tomo ma imbare ane ta gesi ane ta ji tenza dewa tago wato suje chukubo tago wato long tago hina ane de dunga imba injimichi nginzo tago res sochechi de so nyawan be sochechi
no de dunga wato
dunga wa imba
and then the third type of sufferings which is called as the all pervasive suffering of conditionings. So now this the example for this this third type of suffering is this the aggregate, these contaminated aggregates which we possess which we possess is called as the this third, pervasive, all pervasive sufferings of conditionings, and so therefore to the we have to understand. It's important. We have to recognize. It's important to recognize that this how these aggregates, these contaminated aggregates that we possess is it is also suffering loss.
Te karasina ngazo lenye ungi shuita soje nyawa lembe pimbo tu deshinje ani ta ledu nyemu bi yengu de sone ani rume pata pena ni magi na ko chicha chawa ina ani ni shewa to gawa ta masheton le unja ni rume pate ni shewa to gawa to nawa to chewa la supare de res.
So so basically the one of the reason why this the aggregate, the contaminated aggregates is called as the all-pervasive suffering, because it is the like a product of it is a result, result of the mental, like afflictions and the karmas, and so therefore because it's a result, because it is the result of this mental delusion, mental affliction and the karma. So we can understand, we can recognize it is a suffering in nature. So first of all, because why it is suffering in nature, because when we possess this, that we do not have the freedoms. We do not have the freedoms in terms of like how this aggregate, how our because of these aggregates, how we are subject to, for example, the suffering of related to birth, aging, and sickness, and the death. So this, even if we do not want all this, such sufferings, but we have no choice, and we have no the freedoms. So therefore, from this perspective, from this point of view, we can also understand that how such the aggregates, possessing such an aggregate is being like we being subject to the nature of sufferings.
Shiwi nekasala ani dunga shiwe pata chengayo marimato ani shiwi nekasala ni dunga chimbuji sare sroha tanga tu shiwi nekasala ti mateme unki ni titi se shekwa re sene ta chibuna buchi tante ko ros mato sheta dunga ye pate kawane shingo sena bugu ma tuma shewa ti je ngone shingi jimato ta kemu gen shingi paje yo marwas tinza ni dunga chimbuji yawade dine hakote kres.
So like the experience of taking birth, so is also is painful, and it's miserable, and so it's just that we do not recall that experience at the moment, but however we can. We can understand, we can guess from what the child, who is, who's being born, and what the child is, they're undergoing. If we observe that, we can understand that the fact that child, when it's taking, at the time of the birth, is really. The crying very loudly is not of course, it's a sign of pain, sign of sufferings, and so we do, we do not see, child coming out in smiling or yeah.
당가서 정금에 진짜지 다 시고 나타나 동대 지고 다 아니 대리마도 제다 정거에 와 있는 답지 다 때문에 이슈다 다 된지고 다 레니온 그슈에네 소지 집힌보텔라니 아니 다 롱메 봐 아니 드니가 다 시에 첨부지 요데 시에 첨부 이해와될 때네 아니 델레 탄대지 로치마 많이 봐 시고 그래서 롱시에 그거라 델레 탄대지 로치마 많이 봐 시에서나 아니 구조티질라 롱시엔로레 구조테 로지데치 구조 총도 그래서 로지치 구조 총도 그래서
so by fully recognizing and very clearly recognizing this, how this the being the subject to this, being subject to these contaminated aggregates is then we become subject to the nature of sufferings. So recognizing that as the sufferings, and so therefore we have to cultivate. We have to recognize and also meditate on that. Until we can cultivate a desire or a really strong wish to be free ourselves from these contaminated aggregates and these contaminated aggregates. So in a sense, this technical is so when we someone who have after meditating on this third form of the third level of type of the sufferings, and then cultivate this the strong wish, strong like a spontaneous wish to be free from these contaminated aggregates, and then we can say then we can that is the indications that qualified that person to be called as being like now entering into the path.
대오다 로존노선에 지중가 비가 니년세크도 타와테니로 슈나테 생긴 주시 발로스네 드니스고 그랬어. 그래서나 코에 부족 간대지나요. 또 이메 깨지 좀 무시하지. 근데 니세콘도네 델레 찬대지가 로치마 많이 봐시소나 아니 구조티질라 로시고요. 그래서 드니스고요. 그래서
So if you refer to the Lama Tsongkhapa's these texts, the three principal aspects of the path. So there's a verse which really give the measurements of having cultivated the what we call as renunciations. So that is that the measurement of having, it's where you say the measurement of having cultivated the renunciation or the thought of leaving the cycle existence is when day and night when this thought of of seeking the liberation arises, and he says that is the measurement of having cultivated the renunciations.
다 라젤라 시사나 다테 테체질로 간데스레 그래 테메질로 간데스레 그래서나 아니 다 디가 네 루니 지포 네 타와테니 질로지 조지 상소나 나리 지포 타와타 긴현비가 아니 타와테니 질로지 상소나 라테 테메질로 총하고 그래서 아니 덴디가 라테니 조 손주지 살라 소비가 상소나 아니 라테 테체질 노존르 테체질 손로 총하고 그래서
So given this fact that if you cultivate that this level, spontaneous level of this arising of the renunciations, which is a wish to achieve the a liberation from the cycle existence arises. So given that as the indication of entering into the path, and then next question is if we ask what kind of path, whether one enter into the path of lesser vehicle, or whether one enter into the great vehicle or the Mahayana, and that is determined by the whether if determined by that if in that wish to achieve liberation is merely for one's own self, and then if this such accompanied by such a self oriented or self merely for one's own self, then you enter into the path. That's enter into the path of the lesser vehicle or the Hinayanas. But if it is accompanied by the bodhicittas, so then then you entering into the path of great vehicle or Mahayanas.
다 가서 봐봐 가서 봐봐 아니 대책시에서 대체지 롱아데 드니 시험부 시와이나 다 대체지 촌로래 단대가 쇼주지 센지 선비가 롱데 동보대 대체지 촌로 저대 그요래 아니 대절라 대비 구조대 통마 쇼주 선바 통마대 쳐버렸어.
So in here, so we are mainly focusing on the Mahayana path, and so therefore the Mahayana, we enter into Mahayana path when we when we have the bodhicitta mind, or when this the wish to achieve liberation is accompanied by a true bodhicitta mind, and then we enter into the Mahayana path. And then the first path that we enter is the Mahayana path of accumulations.
다 현주 선바 초차디잘 아니 tel라 다 현주 선바 몽체와 디가 로마슈가 내가서 돈이 돼요레스 아니 주세 어떤 것이 아니 대지 총로 시 제설하니 대화 준비가 다 아니 따와 준비 준 라소팔다 티소치네 네 총로 시 제설 돈이 오요레스.
So at the point of someone when we first enter into the Mahayana path with the cultivations of the bodhicittas, so you could have a person who at that time, or who may already have the realizations of emptiness, or the cognition of the emptiness. So in which case, so the person had the realization of the emptiness even prior to entering into the path, and so that would be the case for the I have to put for the most of of those who enter into the Mahayana path. But however, there are some usually we call as some who are with the a practitioner with the less the mental mental faculties, so they however, then they gain the realization of emptiness, after entering into the initial path, Mahayana path of accumulations.
Tende inza ta ani ta karse kare ngachoti techela tomone techela longolo shu nge ti jo to rojalon chine ma shu nge ne tomone techela long tano shu rongye ko konye ba richi te ani teche yonlon kandes lon rogre se waina ani tindi ko kuzote tunila muipi gani goji lo toma shewana ni teje yonlon rojo ko
tunyin be kaza
tunyin la mi bi goji lo tunyin la mi bi goji lo no shewana ni teje yonlon bojo ko res
so if we just focus on this as someone who who has entered into the Mahayana path, so the first path that person enter into is called the Mahayana path of accumulations. Now, with regard to this, relating to this such person, so you could have two types. There could be one who might have who might have already previously entered into the path of lesser vehicle, and then now begin or enter the Mahayana path. You could have that. But however, we will just talk about someone who have never entered into any of the lesser vehicle path. So we talk about someone who who enter into the Mahayana path, and as that's the first path, that the spiritual path that they enter into, and so therefore the first path that they enter is called as the Mahayana path of accumulations, right? And then now, how determines the person now entering into the next Mahayana path, that is the Mahayana path of the path of preparations. So that is the to do with the person's the progress or on the with the realization of the emptiness. So it is said that with the realization of emptiness, so when the person gained the realization of emptiness, which is called as the realization of emptiness arising from meditations, and then at that point, the person then enter into the Mahayana path of preparations. Yes.
다 드니 그 대체를 넣는 수 동문을 대체를 넣는 수 되게 되라 대체 손원다 연어 돈이 두비 대체 손원 돈이 두비 대체 연어가 수바 대 두바인 받지 바래서 내서 말해서 두바인 받지 바래서 대체 돈이 대체 또 받지 바래서 이나요 저와 그래요세나 군이 돈이 대체 또 나요 네 돈이라 싸는 참자 네 손원래 네 연어대 제와도 연어 논체래요 코란줄 산우 제슈 뭐부터리
선유스
사완노
라오
사완노 세고시고노 두바이나 두바인 받지 바이나요 세원노가 예매를 제와요 그래서
so so from the minor path of accumulation, then to progress into the minor path of preparations, so is to do with the person's realizations, the development of their realization of their of emptiness. So, so as said before, so when the realization of emptiness arising from meditations, in the opposed to the realization arising from contemplation or from from studying or from hearing. So then person move into the part of part of preparations. So now during the when we talk about such realization of emptiness during the time while on the part of both the part of accumulation and the part of preparations, right to the part of preparations, so during those time, so there's their realization is only like a conceptual. All are only conceptual realizations, which means that they do not. There's no direct realizations of emptiness. But the realization is gained through the medium of thought, or we call it like a generic image of the emptiness. So through that, through the medium of the generic image of the emptiness. So, however, there is a difference. The difference can be seen in this the realization of emptiness on the part of, for example, on the part of the accumulation, and someone on the part of preparations. There's a difference in terms of the level of the clarities, of the emptiness in the mind. So of course the clarity that is gained on the part while on the part of preparations is much greater than the clarity you had on the emptiness on the part of accumulations.
Teni jalo ne kasal toni ne yun to kombashe sanu raja yin ser yung tene ani teni ga toni tupi ga tupate nyasa je ngo kadu jesuna toni nyasa da kadu to suna ani teje tonlo singit ton lo samba teje tonlo singit ton res.
So after entering into the part of the preparations, and then the person still continuously further meditate on emptiness to to see as clear, as vivid as possible, and then it is said that as person meditate, and then when the person gained these direct realizations, direct perceptions of the emptiness, then the person move from the part of preparations, then the person move or enter into the part of the seeings. So that part of the direct realization of the emptiness really marks the person's entering into the part of seeing.
제장아 뒤는 ni 다 통로 동보 토이 때를 니 댄스 끝돌아 니니 제거 그래서 댄스 끝돌아 봐 니스 내와시네 디 사회도 제발 네 루절 마시 왔대 니 내가 소인 거 그래서 니니시네 뭐요 말다.
So and upon the direct realization of emptiness, then the person entering into the path of seeing, and then at that point, person has is able to directly counteract the what we call as the artificial level of like the self-grasping or the grasping of true existence, and together with the seeds of that, that artificial grasping of true existence.
Ona dance kato singe de karse gorse na roa. Ani shito dance konshila. Ni kele tonre bi gun sambachi se gorse.
No.
Kele do.
Kele
ba roa.
No.
Pena ngazo pesha wa na ta nga chu jela do che yendo ko mare de. Pina se zombi ge jela. Ani geja koro kuzo ga se geja roa. Geja damat pan se roa. De tente un ki go 아니 그게 담바토파 캐올래그러와 아니 전태용 그거 던지고 그게 담바토파 캐올래 구조티 절 그게 담바토피 잡히고다 캐올래도 되고 잠바지요 그래서 로와 호텔 그도세 그래서
so the artificial grasping, like a self-grasping or the grasping at true existence. So it's the referring to something which you like the wrong view which you acquired by some wrong philosophies, like or philosophically acquired wrong views. So we may not have such a view, but if we have some strong a belief in certain system, like for example the Chidamatrin, okay, mind only school of tenets, so where there is a view that the phenomena, the object called the mind basis of all. The mind basis of all is called as, is regarded as truly existence. So therefore, these, such a view, it's like a philosophically, you could have the view of true existence, which is philosophically acquired, and as which you posited, mentally posited, such because of your belief systems, and so therefore the what is saying here is that in the initial stage of that path of seeing, so with the direct realization of emptiness, then it is said that one has the direct antidote to all the such misconception which is acquired philosophically, or which is the artificial one. So it is that you have the antidote, direct antidote to overcome such a view, such a philosophically acquired view, together with that the seeds of that such view.
Tende dance te dance kato singe te tente ge jele pe ung ge shuwa re ma to ni tente ge jele pa mai ba ta so je runga ta ga se ge kuso te je ge ni ta no shila so pa demba tra pare dema me pare se na ko ji demba tra pa khen le ma dema me pa khen le go ma res te nga chon ra wa ina ta te wa chim bo no ju ching is dema me pare se gro was demba tra pa khen le ma was te insa ane demba tra pe kato jela dinge kuso te so ga tente jele pe ung ge ane dance demba tra pare se ne khen le go res ti chu ge la ni dance kato yo res ma to tente jele ma le pa to tente jela dance kato te yo ma res
no. So this this artificial, like the view of true existence, so it's really the more relating to the your philosophically acquired view, and so it is the wrong view which you assert which you assert in your mind because of your philosophy, because of certain following certain school of philosophies. So therefore, from this point of view, so if you do not follow any specific like a school of thoughts, then you wouldn't have that this imputed or this philosophically acquired view.
Things that ni shito kato demba trupan so ni leshi gun so chiwashita yomaresra ngati jala denzel leshi na yores denzel leshi de yorita karire yoresena kanichin ta demba trupa kanichin leshi ti kanichin no yoresena ngati jala ta nga nyombi ni loji yores ta digupa ngaten zawa te ta yin tsala ni ngate paje ji pimbu sel ye patawochi ngachol sonol ane pimbu ngase disala ta sonoji to en pimbu sel ye be te noachi tndi na tene noa tene noa tela tene zadingi jore serwa tanzo tela ne denzel leshi si wores te ngachu jela yores.
But we all have this the innate the sense of like a self grasping, self-graspings of true existence. So like not because of this, not because of the any the view that we assert, by following certain like a tenet, school of tenets. So, but just the way we perceive, where we view ourselves, how we exist ourselves, and then we somehow we have this the tendency to think that we ourselves or the I exists, and then in a way, and we have tendency to viewing that I exists somewhere, as somewhere in our aggregates, or within our aggregates. So this way, so that's the such view. We hold this. Having such a view is more. It's like it's innate or it's inborn in ourselves. It's just almost like the naturalists. We have such. We hold our eye in ourselves to have such a inherent, existence.
Penani, ngazo tapa tashat nila hote kantonti salani dundu nyombi lochi teng kores. Ni tenla ni tapu tenla ni trichi yomaris, do yomaris. Ten oji ngachi lola ngao nyombi lochi shegerte ina pisu loid ten ngao nyombi lotela karishar pisu loid shawi ka tune ngao nyombi lochi shegores. Tenza pisu ko tenla ngaye patawi ka ni ashi lola shaga yorite toti ko tenla ngame pa ten noji ka pisu ko tenla ngati yomaris. Sumaris tateni.
So, like, how we can easily misconceive, from the distance when we see some like a stripe, like a rope, as a snake, and then we can have, this just by perceiving, just seeing that striped rope, we might think that there's a snake there, and we can get a have a fear, arise from that. But however, when we will check whether there really is a snake there or not, then we will find that there is no snake there. It's just a rope. So, so in the same way, how the way we perceive ourselves, we have this, just as we that seeing the snake in the distance in the where there's a rope, striped rope. So we will see that self. We have this the self exists. We have this somewhere from our this aggregate, our or within our aggregates, we have this sense of this exist. We hold on as if we exist, as in like the inherent or independent self. So we have that, exist from that, from the aggregates, from within the aggregates. So this I exists. But of course, if we just as there's no snake, so if we investigate whether does that I, that which we believe exists somewhere in our aggregate, but if we investigate in the aggregates, then of course we cannot find that. So so therefore, what's saying here, the point is that the idea, this notion that how I exists inherently somewhere in these aggregates. So this such we have this such the concept such of I arising as innate, which is innately existence.
Zamba tata ne telane bi ngaji yo mare se goro mato sido nga mewa re se ne tni she yo mare es.
So this we have to, when we experience the sense of eyes, so there's a we on one we are not really negating the I itself. We're not saying that that I do not exist, but rather we have to negate how that, what sort of reality that I seems to have have. So that is something that we need to negate, and and how we perceive that the I to have the existence is as if the I exists in its in its own right. So that's something we need to negate, but not the I. So the I, of course, the I does exist nominally. So.
This is also the near the Georgian method. Not on the dynamic in Israel. So
we'll the time is finished, so we'll leave the teaching here. But if you have any question, please. Maybe one or two questions. Sorry?
Number 4
yeah.
of the 5 aggregates, form, feeling, recognition, karmic formation, or sometimes call it volition.
Yeah.
And consciousness. I'm not clear on any of them, but number 4,
yeah.
volition or karmic
나 풍부가 장단죠. 속 소와 두제 풍부스 가르치겠어요. 가시게 한 레일라고도.
두제 다 니 마오 가르치나 sombe 그다 소와 두제
수 소와 두시
주
두제
주지 빈보 초에 빈본데 시지 빈본데 제 빈보
두제 공부로
주지 빈보 초에 빈본데 시지 빈본데 제 빈보
넘버쇼
다 때도 맞아 딩해라 지토일스 다 봐지 딩디가 다 드제 빈보 질레 예스 다 자와래 이제 자와테레 다 주지 빈보스는 맞아 주지 빈보스로 초와스는 논지 초와라서 초와라 동료 대화 등가 선시 소화되래. 근데 시치 빈보세레 아마 거행 받았다. 지 여러 왔대. 아마 그때 봐도 신스들이 저기서 진짜 시행하고 지샤여로. 근데 아니 넘바시바 파파. 근데 생긴데 다 텔레질 제모 많이 비다 배나 못 봐. 아니 지지 시와 지지세 저여로. 다때 못 보여로 왔다. 일단 어디까지 되는 건데 맞다. 뭔가 여러 가다.
근데 두제서 다
두제 빈보대. 배나 빈보 못 봐. 못 봐. 다들 저 건강에 두제 빈보세 들어간다.
So that's the compositional factor, right? You're talking about compositional factor. Yeah. So in the Abhidhamma, like the treasury of knowledge, there's a line says composition the other than all the four, the rest are compositional factors. Okay, so all the others. So if you think of all the products, okay, all the the impermanent things, right? So you can think of you can the what is not included in all the four, all the other fours are included in this compositional factor. Yeah.
The shadow. The shadow 초와도와 the shadow 초와래 젬비 세중 가진 가로 지어로 the shadow 초와래 젬비 세주 초마 다 적차 맞아 빼나고 샤고에나 the shadow 초와래 젬비 네 세지 초마 안 the 제 집인 거래서 빼샤와이나
For example, if you I don't know, there's the mental factor, right? How many 51 mental factor, right? So of which there's two are already listed here. That's a feeling, right? And then recognitions. Two are all the rest are included in these compositional factors. But there are also so many others, other things are included in that compositional factor.
Not in consciousness?
Consciousness, no. 남셰디 스튜디오라고. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, because we have the aggregate of consciousness, form, feeling. Yep.
So many factors are not classified in consciousness; they're classified in compositional factors.
Yeah. 남셰에서 당어서 샘중사 샘소르샤오.
센소르샤. 노시.
No, 샘소.
조센로.
소심샤오. Yeah. It's a primary consciousness here, mainly referring primary consciousness. Yeah.
다른 제지 뭐 줘야 되는 거 다 어디 같아 맞을 때.
Yeah.
Geshe mentioned that it's from what he said tonight, the sharp faculty, bodhisattva, seems to be predominant and realizes emptiness at the time of entering the path of accumulation.
Yeah.
And then the lesser has to do it on the path up to the point of the path of preparation. So my question is, so the person that realizes renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness enters the path of preparation.
Yeah.
What then for them is the path of preparation? Is it an instant, or is it, is it in terms of time? What is it that they need to do on the path of accumulation, to the preparation, on the path of preparation? What is it that they need to do to then...
To move into part of preparations. But I think Geshe just said, there's a realization of emptiness arising from meditations. So even though you might have someone who might have the realization of emptiness, before entering into the path, but they don't have. don't you know to go somewhere? Right? This is the country in answer, right? That don't you know that don't you know Melangon song similar that don't you know to Sajo, that the Solam and Gomlam Peg said the Kawa showers. Don't you come Jun Kes or that?
Go you Jetsang recoin, but that Temego Mogino Temelo, Drachominekas, two much yes to two. Tell her when you go, you know, thoughts are that's so. Take it to Lolo, Sugar, shoot, I shouldn't Jolan and poet teacher. True Kudu Sejeti. True Kudu Sejeti Sango, True Kudu Sejeti, that's long and neckas and Senot Sumo Soko. Kudu Sejela Tene, Tutela Senot to do Yeshi to near, Senot Sumo Soko, so long neckas. And Kudu Sejeti, neckas, so long neckas, Sejetela Tene, so gay queen bigota. Sute so Sansasonako, Tunil Tegomarwa, Gujilo Tosainza, Bonores,
and Jolam Perde,
Jolam Poete, Tunin Gojilo Chador, that Tunsaja Kudu Sejeti, Senot to Soko.
So
this Senot to Soko, the kitchen upon a pond.
Relating to someone, say, who even have a direct realization of emptiness, okay, before entering into the Mahayana path, right? So in this situation, the progression from Mahayana path of accumulation to the preparation is more to do with the accumulation of the merit. That's what Geshe was saying, not so much on the emptiness. Yeah.
This.
No.
Mainly
the conventional bodhicitta is to do with the merit. Yeah.
So what does it mean, the realization of emptiness through the meditation? Why is it different? Why do you mention that specifically?
Well, that was mainly for someone who have not realized. Yeah. We can make that. But here, if you talk about someone who already realized, they've already got the realization of emptiness from meditation. Not only that, even a direct realization. You could have someone who achieved the Hinayana liberations, and then enter into the Mahayana path. Yeah, and so in that case, the progression is more to do with the completing the accumulation of the merit to move from one path to next path. Yeah. So solam so la so.
Senojitsu.
Yeah.
Senojitsu to yeshi to ni yorwa.
Wow.
Tirunes.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Senojitsu de kuzu se jesu ko horwa. Yeshi su de jiti so no horwa.
Da melam go so ma da so the solam go so jashi jung de da lamga pa jo sha ro.
Lamga sing ma.
Lamga da solam
jolam pewate.
La solam jolam
pewate.
Yeah. So mainly you have to complete the two accumulation of merit and the wisdoms to require accumulation in order to progress to the one path to the next path. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have a question? No.